This is the Richard Smith Show, where we talk about all things Kansas City Chiefs. I think I might let this one play out a little bit. I like this song. It's a great way to start our Chiefs broadcast today, other than going to Kansas City. Definitely love this song. Love this song. Well, how are we doing, Chiefs Kingdom? It is Saturday, October 6th, and we are on the eve of the Jacksonville Jaguars and Kansas City Chiefs game. But we're going to switch gears here for a second, and let's talk about the Chiefs-Broncos game, which was an exciting game and really had me on the edge of my seat for most of the second half and watching Mahomes' magic just take off and watch him take control of a game that ultimately we weren't looking too good in. And actually our defense stepped up quite a bit. I was pretty excited to see that. But I think that's a testament to what we have going in Chiefs Kingdom here as far as our defensive schemes and our offensive schemes. And, they were going after Patrick Mahomes all night. So it was an overall great game, exciting, a Monday night thriller. The ratings for Monday Night Football went up quite a bit, just watching Patrick Mahomes play. So that's what we bring to the table here in Chiefs Kingdom, and that is absolutely exciting. So I did want to touch base on one thing here. We talk about how bad our defense is and how it's in the cellar, and, there's a lot of questions around the league about our balance. And I do want to say one thing about our defense is number one in the league on third down. So that's a huge stat telling you that when it counts, our defense steps up and shows itself. Although we have a lot of points put up against us, I think that trying to keep up with our offense, that's a great stat to have, on the defensive front. When you're number one in the league on third down, that's a testament to the toughness of your team. No matter, if it's 3rd and 7, 3rd and 12, 3rd and 1, and we've done real well on 4th downs as well. So it's nice to see our defense really, really stepping up and coming to the plate. We added Josh Shaw to our depth chart this week. He is a cornerback for the Cincinnati Bengals. Actually, he's a safety who plays cornerback. But it's nice to see some versatility coming into Kansas City, and he'll really play nice into our defense that we need to run here. Our defensive scheme needs a versatile player like that, and will be a good testament to our overall secondary. So it's going to be really nice. It's nice to see him come in from the Bengals. There's been a lot of jaw around the league today about Tyreek Hill and the Jalen Ramsey matchup. And Jalen Ramsey keeps saying that Tyreek Hill is a return specialist, not a wide receiver, so they're not lined up against each other. But I think that's him backing off a little bit, realizing that when he presses Tyreek, that Tyreek is going to burn him downfield many occasions. So we'll see what happens with that matchup. That is probably my key matchup for the day, and an exciting one to watch. I don't want to take anything away from Ramsey because he's a great defensive back. But Tyreek Hill is the fastest player in the league and the most explosive player in the league off the line. He has track speed, not NFL speed. So, Jalen, we'll see what you say at the end of the game tomorrow. Let's see. I think this week's matchup is really going to be the toughest one for the Kansas City Chiefs so far in the season. It's a really, really balanced team with a balanced offense. They're just a great team, number one defense in the league. So we have the number one defense going up against the number one offense, and we're going to see how Mahomes fares against the top dogs. And it's going to be a fun show. I think they are going to put pressure on Mahomes again, so we'll see how he answers to that second week in a row. And it's important for the energy level on the Chiefs to be there as well. If you're going to play, such a great team you really need to come out with the energy that I don't think that we saw too much of last week. It seemed like our specialist players were tired, and I don't know. It just Travis Kelce looked down. It just really, I don't know. We didn't look like the Chiefs' offense that we usually are. So with that being said, and with us having the biggest challenge put in front of us this year, I really think that it's important for us to come out strong and on fire like we have been. We're going up against the quarterback, Blake Bortles, and so far he has 195 passing yards this year with 7 touchdowns and 3 interceptions. To me, that screams Alex Smith stats, which he is, obviously a game manager, and I think that it's important that having a quarterback like that we're going up against, that we understand that he's going to be managing the clock. They're probably going to run a lot. Excuse me. And I think that it's going to be a tougher matchup than all of us even understand. This is the one game that worries me, this one in St. Louis. And so with that, it's just a testament to their great defense, and then their offense can put up points and move down the field. So really, really look out for this team. I still have us out on top, but it's one of those things that this is our toughest battle so far. So moving on, Patrick Mahomes wins AFC Player of the Month award. September was really kind to Mahomes, with 14 passing touchdowns, no interceptions, and just being a monster all over the field and really showing Kansas City what he is all about. It's amazing to watch this. This is probably the greatest thing that's ever happened in Kansas City. So the excitement's there. I mean, everywhere I look is Mahomes. Everywhere I search is Mahomes. Every social media is Mahomes. I mean, it is Mahomes mania, and it's due. The kid deserves it. It's just as long as it's not too much pressure. I mean, he is the new superstar of the NFL, and at one point after Monday Night Football, he was the number one tweeted person in the world. The number one search in the world for like 6 hours was Patrick Mahomes. So can he handle it? Yeah, I think he can. I don't think it's going to be an option for him, moving forward. It's either you produce or you don't. So, with Big Red having his back and him always having his nose in the locker room, I think he'll be all right. He's not really someone who seems like he lets things go to his head too much. So moving on to the injury report for the Jacksonville game here. Kansas City has 3 players listed as questionable: Sammy Watkins, Dee Ford, and Armani Watts. Doubtful, Eric Berry with that Achilles injury. I hope to see a lot of those players in the lineup this weekend. We could use Watkins, Ford, and Watts. Berry, keep pushing on. Get back out there. The Jaguars, cornerback Trey Herndon is questionable, and he's a backup, but it's anything that can be a piece taken away from Jacksonville's defense is what we need. Another cornerback, DJ Hayden, is out, and running back Leonard Fournette is out, which is great. That's a huge deal considering our run defense is kind of in the gutter. So, looking back in time here, we're going to go back almost 20 years to the day. That's actually 2 days off. The Kansas City Chiefs squared off against the Seattle Seahawks in a torrential downpour that lasted the entire game. The Chiefs still pulled off that victory, I believe 17-9 or 17-10. That was an amazingly historical game. There is lots of footage of Derrick Thomas in that game that is just historic, and that's something we'll never forget. That was an amazing game and just, completely insane elements. So my predictions for the Chiefs and Jaguars, this is a tough one, but I really think the Chiefs can pull this out. I have the Chiefs on top 24-21, and I think this is going to be our toughest game. So I look forward to a great matchup tomorrow, 12 noon, Arrowhead Stadium, Chiefs and Jaguars. Let's go Chiefs. This is an important game for us here in AFC, especially if we want home field advantage. So let's take it to the Jaguars, Kansas City. To Today I'm going to switch things up a little bit on my on ending the show. I want to talk about Derrick Thomas a little bit. That moment when he was drafted changed Kansas City forever. I speak for myself and most of Kansas City fans when I say that when I think of the Kansas City Chiefs, I think of Derrick Thomas. He is the front runner in my mind and the poster child of the Kansas City Chiefs. Derrick was born to play linebacker. The way he played was truly a work of art. Opposing quarterbacks were terrorized by the man who wore number 58. I think it's safe to say that the man with 7 sacks in one game, the same kid that was Marty's draft pick, is the greatest right outside linebacker to ever play the game of football. As a kid, watching DT was more than football. Derrick was someone I looked up to as a hero. As I played sports as a kid, I never played linebacker, but it didn't matter. As long as I was trying my best to play as Derrick Thomas did. That's all that mattered. Derrick was, is, and always will be Kansas City. The day he passed took the air out of Kansas City. It was like we lost a brother or a son. It was devastating. You could feel it in Kansas City everywhere you went. Like many, lots of tears were cried over the man I never met. It is important in life to realize the impact you have. My hero as a kid, gone over a seatbelt. You were more than football. You were released from reality and a breath of fresh air. Thank you, Derrick. Kansas City will never be the same. There was something about Derrick that all of Kansas City loved. You did your job. You lived your dream. You left your mark. The kid who wore number 58 will always be DT. Rest in peace, Derrick. This is the Richard Smith Show, where we talk about all things Kansas City Chiefs.